Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Excuse me! Taxi!
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
And you guys, let's continue with this because it's the big story. Let's go to the St. Paul Police Federation President Mark Ross. He's also the Minnesota Police and Peace Officers Association executive member. And I want to talk with you, Mr. Ross, because this is interesting. You put out a plea, and you're right there on the front lines, saying that there needs to be cooperation with local cops and ICE and Border Patrol. And you were very critical of the local officials. You just heard from the former senator. Tell us what you're seeing on the ground in St. Paul.
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. Secondly, it sounds like the temperature is starting to actually come down a little bit. It sounds like Tom Homan is in town. He's met with the mayors of both Minneapolis and St. Paul. It sounds like he's met with the police administrations. As you know, President Trump himself said that he spoke with Governor Walz, and he said they were actually probably on the same wavelength, which a week ago, I don't think they would have agreed on what day of the week it was. But to Senator Coleman's point, and he said it exactly as it is, we need to be able to cooperate at least a little bit. So most of these sanctuary cities all have separation ordinances, and these ordinances very specifically define what local law enforcement what duties they can perform in regards to immigration, which is basically zero, and we don't have the jurisdiction to do that anyways. That's the federal government's responsibility. However, they take it a little bit too far, and they won't even allow us to coordinate with our federal partners. And that's really where the problem lies. It becomes a political issue because these folks get dug in. And then not in every instance, but in many cases, if there could just be a little bit of coordination on the front end, we could be prepared at the local level to manage some of these crowds, which again, managing a crowd or a protest is not federal law enforcement. For some reason, our local officials have conflated those things, and it's created problems. We now have 2 dead people in our community, and it's too many. It's really sad. It's tragic. I think it could have been prevented.
Yeah. Let me ask you also, in your community in St. Paul, one of the Twin Cities there, the Hilton Hotel, didn't you guys have one of the hotels that was really badly trashed?
Over in St. Paul, fortunately, we do not. And again, it's almost like two different worlds when you cross the Mississippi River. However, we have provided quite a bit of mutual aid in Minneapolis, because keep this in mind, the police calls don't stop coming in. The people out in our community that need us day to day when they're in crisis, none of those things go away. So it's been really tough to manage. Primarily for the Minneapolis Police Department, but also for the St. Paul Police Department. And we had an issue back in November that was very similar to this, where we had to go out kind of late in the game and assist with some crowd management. And that's kind of where all this kicked off.
Yeah, and I want to ask you your thoughts when you see what happened with, of course, Alex Preddy. And there's been some new details that have come out in the last 24 hours that he claimed, and this is coming from CNN, saying that he claimed he had an altercation like the week before, had a broken rib. He was on the radar with federal authorities. Then he was out earlier in the day with a group that was out there, according to reports. And then he comes out and he has a loaded gun. Just your thoughts as someone in law enforcement. How much has all of that sort of raised the radar of somebody who's put in the position that's that guy again?
Well, it is something that law enforcement considers. It's certainly as street cops in our day-to-day jobs, when we come in frequent contact with certain criminals, our radar goes up a little bit, our antennas go up. And if we know that somebody regularly carries a gun or is engaged in criminal activity, that does change the game. I will say, the common denominator here in both of these deaths in St. Paul is people that deliberately inserted themselves and tried to interfere and impede with law enforcement activities. In both cases, they had deadly weapons, a car being one, a gun being the other, And there's just always a possibility when you insert yourself and interfere with law enforcement that things could end tragically. It's just terrible. If I could make any plea or implore anybody.
When these people, is there bail money? Is there somebody putting up the bail for them to get out?
You're talking about the protesters, like the protesters.
You know, there have been groups like that in the past. I don't know if they're still functioning or receiving money, but yeah, there's groups that are pretty active in the Twin Cities that will bail people out of jail as soon as they're booked. So
you know what I'm thinking of?
I mean, the old movies will tell you follow the money. I mean, where's the money coming from? You know, we just had an attack on the Hilton in Tribeca
in New York,
and 70 people got arrested last night. And I said it was 7 degrees, 10 degrees last night in New York. I'm watching television. Should I get up and go pick at the Hilton Hotel? I mean, and nobody's paying me?
Right. It's like, where's the money coming from?
Where's the money coming from?
You know what I thought about too, John, and also Mark? I thought about also during the BLM riots. Remember, there was a whole bunch of people. I'm curious if some of it's the same money train. And even Kamala Harris donated to the Minnesota Freedom Fund.
2020.
Right,
2020.
which bailed out people.
I mean, what we're saying here is they're trying to, the $9 billion that's missing in Minnesota, or whatever it is, 10 billion, 8 billion, 7 billion, whatever the number is, they're trying to get it off the front page.
Yeah, lest we forget, that's what got us here. That's why this aggressive stance was taken by the federal government in the first place, is because of this fraud and the indignance displayed by our governor and other leaders at the state level that basically turned a blind eye to it. And yes, it has taken the focus away from that, which is disgraceful, and we need to keep a focus on that. I know the federal government is committed to sending investigators and prosecutors into Minnesota to investigate these things. And thank goodness for that, because we need them to do that. We haven't been allowed to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Mark, please keep us posted. You're right there on the ground, and we've got to back our great men and women in blue. Thank you for everything you're doing.
We appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype. No myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.